Good evening, everybody. It's Steve with Real Progressives. It's a late one, folks. I'm sorry. I haven't had time tonight. It's been a freaking whirlwind of a day. You know, real life got in the way of Real Progressives, right? Every once in a while, the priority has to be something other than, Viva Revolution. But, that brought me to the reason why I felt compelled to stream, even at this time of night. I don't care if anybody actually watches this or not. I felt like it was really important to talk through, some of the challenges that, revolutionaries and trying to build a business and trying to create a movement, the challenges are immense. I mean, they're immense. You don't have startup capital. You don't have all the big connections to all the big opportunities that you'd like to have. You don't have communication systems completely ironed out. You don't have organizational structures, and everybody's working as a volunteer. You do the best you can, and you press forward. And, Real Progressives is a significantly large team of volunteers. And I mean, what you don't see here is on the back end, we've got people building graphics. We've got people that are actually working together, sharing streams, sharing posts throughout. You've got people that are writing content. You got people that are devising and creating actual short videos and concepts. We've got an entire creative team that's working together. And at the end of the day, all these people are coming here because they believe in the mission, right? But everybody's a human being, and they come home and they got a family. Spouses, let's be fair, are not always dialed into this thing. And as much negotiating as you might do with them, they're not always the most supportive, right? But you still got to keep pressing on. You still want to try and make this thing work and so forth. And when I talk to you all, I'm thinking to myself, I wonder if people really know how hard this shit is, And because I know that other people want to do some revolutionary things as well. They think, wow, man, now's the time. Maybe I can get involved in a movement. Maybe I can do something, start my own company, start this or that and the other. And let me tell you something. When you're in a volunteer move, when you're in a volunteer environment, everything is not synchronous. Everything is not in real time. You're leaving messages on Slack channels. You're leaving messages in Facebook Communicate or Messenger. People are not always online at the same time. You hope everybody communicates. Sometimes they don't. People like me, my brain is moving 24 freaking hours a day. It's just like, wham, all these ideas, things coming to me, reading news. I'm just like on. It's always on. So, when I go to our conference calls, things like that, trying to pare it down, be real freaking, narrow and purposeful and everything direct and, no wasted breath. It's hard as hell. It is hard as hell. You got 23 hours of stuff that's been going through your brain, probably 24 hours a day for the other days, and then all of a sudden you get a 1-hour conference call and you try to fit 1,000 pounds of information into a 1-pound paper bag. It is ridiculous. So I don't know how many of you all have ever tried to do this, but let me give you some ideas more so about what doesn't work. One of the things that does not work is not coming prepared to a conference call. Always having an agenda ready and sticking to the frickin' agenda. As the founder of this thing, as the guy who puts this stuff together, I've got to get better with doing that stuff so that we have processes in our small teams that everybody is able to actually frickin', have their voice heard. I am an alpha, folks. I am a pure 100% alpha. And so when we go on these calls, I have got to be very, very careful not to bulldoze people, because we got all kinds of people on this team. I don't know if you've ever tried to do this kind of thing before, but I'm telling you, it is tougher than nails. You know, when you go to a regular job, everybody's getting a paycheck. They stick through it no matter what, because that's the boss. When it's a volunteer thing, it's all about the love. It's all about the mission. So, you know, keeping people engaged, keeping them going, it is a tough, tough deal. So when you're picking your team, when you're looking out there for people, make sure they have your same values. Make sure they have a skill set that actually translates directly to the mission. Make sure they're available. If they ever start overcommitting to things, make sure that you call them out and say, breathe, think about what you're saying. Let's make sure you can actually deliver what you're saying. Because, I mean, some of the people on this team are putting in, I kid you not, literally 16 hours a day. And, you know, it's just unbelievable. So when you put your own team together, when you try to create your own version of, you know, Real Progressives or any of these other things, you need to realize that it is extremely difficult to make every single person happy. Somebody's going to feel left out. Somebody is not going to feel like their ideas or skill set or whatever are properly valued. So part of your role in doing this has got to be to recognize who your players are, what their strengths, what their weaknesses are, what drives them, and make sure that you give them encouragement, and make sure that you praise them, and make sure you give them recognition, and make sure that you document the things that they say so that you can take those things and improve upon them. Because everybody wants to feel like their name is on, you know, is on the product. They want to feel a sense of ownership. I don't think I've ever taken on a bigger challenge in my entire life. I kid you not. There is nothing like it at all. And we have got a fantastic team. So, you know, you want to organize. You know, you got all the external people coming into you saying, hey, here's an idea. Here's something. Hey, post this for us. Hey, can you do this? Can you all talk about this? Hey, I didn't feel like you addressed my concern in your live stream. Can you do this? And, you know, it's an awesome amount of information coming through the fire hose at one time. And you want to make sure you answer every single inbox. You want to make sure nobody gets left out. You want to make sure people feel that sense of connection. Because I try to answer every single inbox. And there are hundreds in there. I swear on my life, there are hundreds in there. And, you know, you don't do it perfectly. You never frickin' do it perfectly. And, you know, there's been times where, you know, my fiance will look at me and she'll go, is this really all you're going to be doing? Because I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up for it. And it's like, wow, okay. So you got to remember that life goes on too. You got to strike that balance. You got to set some parameters and some boundaries to make sure that your life doesn't get overcome with this, so that you can actually scrub the toilet, so you can actually cut the grass, so you can actually wipe the kid's butt when it's dirty, you know? And, God, I mean, seriously, it's just like coming at you so fast you don't even realize what you're dealing with. And you just know the passion in your heart to change the world is so strong, but you don't want to let anyone down ever, for any reason. And so, you know, one of the things that we're going to be doing going forward here is, you know, I'm telling you this stuff, why? This is probably the most boring stream you will ever hear from me, because this is probably the most nuts and bolts kind of deal you'll ever hear from me. When we do our meetings, we've got groups, like we've got a media group, we've got a creative team, we've got a web development team. So we've got we got an activist team, you know, and then we got the business development team, marketing, stuff like that. And each of these small groups needs to meet together. You need to talk about the things. You need to give everybody a chance to speak around the table. Everybody's ideas need to somehow or another matter, even if you don't go with them. You need to respect and hear and acknowledge that people have spoken to you. I've fallen down on that a couple times because I am just, man, when it happens, it just flows out of me. There's so much shit in my brain that I just need to give to them. And, several of our team leads, have been trying their best. They got so much going on trying to get this thing off the ground. And, I watch them struggling too. It's the same time constraints. They got a wife, they got a husband, they got a boyfriend, they got a kid, somebody that doesn't really totally understand the time commitment and why. They wake up in the morning, first thing they do is Real Progressives, and when they go to bed at night, last thing they do is Real Progressives, and throughout the day, they're snatching it on the toilet, on their phone, they're over lunch, they look around, they're walking down the street on the way to lunch, and they're like, holy shit, that'd be a great place to stream. Let me go ahead and do a stream. Hi, Steve with Real Progressives. And, it can be totally overwhelming. I swear to God, you think it's easy, and you just have to try it sometime to believe me. You just do. I see some of these groups out there, some of these pages that got 3,000 and 4,000 people on them. And it's like, you don't know what you're doing. Trust me, in a few weeks, a month or 3 or 5, when you get bigger and bigger and bigger, and all of a sudden you start seeing the incredible amount of love. And, hey, man, Steve, I trust what you're saying to me. Wow, awesome, But, man, oh, man, think about that, right? When your son or daughter looks up at you and they say, Dad, I trust you, or something like that, and you're like, wow, that's like a tremendous responsibility. And I feel that too. But I feel that more so. I'm telling you about my team now. This is not outward. This is about our inward team. My team, these people literally care so much. They do. It's unbelievable. I've got different inboxes. Hey, Steve, so-and-so is really, really struggling. You got to make sure that you contact her. Here are the 5 things that were really bothering her. Uh-oh, I think she's going to quit. Or, uh-oh, I think that so-and-so is going to quit. Hey, why didn't they go through a certain QA process to make sure the website was perfect? Hey, the editing, man. Somebody's writing like they're talking. Why isn't it going through the editorial process? And so you're building all this stuff out. And it's like, there's just not enough hours in the day. And no matter how many people you get on the team, there's just not enough hours in the day. And so you got to let go. And you got to say, it isn't going to be perfect. And it's okay, it's not perfect. And you've got to set some parameters with the whole way of dealing with discrepancies. It's like, hey, look, if today was a bad day, take a breath, log off for the day, get back in the morning, talk to me, talk to somebody else, one of the other leaders on the team. But give it a minute, pause. Just know that you're a valued member of the team. And I don't know, it's like having a life in your hands that you value so much, and it's so precious, and you don't want to hurt it. You want to caress it. You want to take care of it. You want to, mother it or father it, or, you want to swaddle it and tend to it. And, it's like a child, It's like a child, just like your child. And so, I love that. If our elected reps felt the responsibility, you're right. That was where I was taking this. Thank you so much, Sylvia. This is a volunteer effort. We're not elected. We've taken this and made it our own. We've got people that are elected to do this stuff. Our government is supposed to be representing us like this. But they sit there. Well, it's 5 o'clock. Time to rock. Bam, gone out the door. And some of the times they're not even working for us when they're in session. They're just like finding ways to screw off. They're not taking us seriously. And so our job is going to be to produce truth and to produce vehicles for friggin' making them do their jobs. Can we bring back responsibility and love from our government? Is it possible? I don't know. We're going to find out. But getting back to it, one of the things that's also very difficult, I'm sitting here right now, just so you understand my gear. I've got a tripod that's sitting on my table. I've got my phone sitting right there. I've got it so the big screen's facing me so I can see all the hearts and all the likes and all the frowny faces and everything. We've got, we're looking at software, different software, so that we can do interviews and stuff like that. There's a software package called XSplit. There's another software package that's a little bit more robust and a little bit more pricey. But when you got no money, you got no money. The cheddar needs to be there to make it happen, right? But the minute we get some of that cheddar,